would say, what is your favorite toe?
Mine?
Yeah, you have 10 toes. Which is your favorite?
Little.
Oh, I like them all the same.
Ah, good.
And I like them all the same. And you should probably translate this.
C'est vrai ou traduit un peu?
Je comprends un petit peu.
Oui, là, il les aime, tous ces personnages sont les mêmes. Enfin, c'est pas les mêmes, pardon, mais il les aime vraiment tous pareil.
I wrote all my characters
Il a écrit tous ces personnages
to tell different stories.
pour raconter des histoires différentes à chaque fois.
And they are all threads in the same tapestry,
Ils sont tous reliés et dans le même tissu.
and no one thread is more important than the other.
Et aucun film n'est plus important que l'autre.
Yes.
Do you think that humanity will really survive and break zombie?
Oh yeah. No, are you kidding? Yeah, humanity will survive because we are a surviving species. We have no reason to be here right now. We have no reason. We are the dominant species on the planet, but we are not naturally predators. We are naturally food. We are little monkeys. That's who we are supposed to be. We do not have fangs. We do not have claws. We are not very strong. We are not very fast. And yet, look what we have done. We have survived everything that nature has used against us. And as a species, we have survived our own stupidity. And we have lots of it. And yet we are still here. I think humanity as a species would survive a zombie plague, but I don't know what humanity would look like after the plague. Human civilization may not look the same, any more than this country is called Gaul. Things change. Do you have another
Another
question?
one?
Sure.
Yes, your favorite zombie video game, if you have one?
Oh yes, yes I do. I have a favorite zombie video game, which none of you have heard of. It's called Land of the Dead. Even it. Sacre bleu! There was a movie made by George Romero, Land of the Dead. Whenever that you make a movie, people always try to make a video game with it to make more money. Now this video game was very hurried. Rush, 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 rush. Get it done, get it done. So it was not perfect. But because it was not perfect, it was real. You see, in every video game, the reason for the game is to be fun. Enjoy it. Everyone have a good time. And so that is not real. So when you play a zombie video game, there are weapons and bullets just everywhere for you to pick up. And there's things, and there are helpful characters who come to help you. Ah, bonjour, I'm your friendly Vietnam veteran. Oh, that's not real. In Land of the Dead, because it was rushed and not perfect, you run into a room, shut the door, and there's drawers, and you open it, and there's nothing in it. You go to another one, and there's nothing in it. And you open cabinets, nothing. That is exactly how it would be in a real zombie plague. And that to me makes it so enjoyable, because that is real. So I hope that answers your question.
Quel genre de recherche vous avez dû faire pour écrire le livre?
Oh, how do I say lots? I will start by saying that my hero when I was a boy was Tom Clancy. Because before Tom Clancy, there was James Bond. James Bond was fantasy. Fantasy. James Bond was technology, and a watch with a laser, and beautiful women, and no diseases. You know, in real life, James Bond would have been dead of syphilis. So then came Tom Clancy. And Tom Clancy made everything real. Tom Clancy was a historian, a journalist. So when you Hunt for Red October, Tom Clancy's book, it is a real Russian submarine. The technology is real, the politics are real, the organization, the military, it's all real. So when you close the book, you are smarter than when you opened it. And I thought as a child, that is what I want to be. So for me, the zombies are fantastic enough. I don't need to make up anything else. So I research everything. I study everything. It is why I don't publish more books, because I'm spending my time learning. Before I can be the teacher, I must be the student. For example, in World War Z, everything was based on research. I study history, so every story is actually taken from history. I did not make any of those stories up. I just made a zombie version of it. For example, the Paris catacombs in World War Z, I had to study it. How does it look? Was it good? Is it okay? Because I don't like making things up.
Est-ce que vous pensez que l'industrie du zombie est en train de s'épuiser avec les films, les jeux et tout?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't care about the zombie industry. I am not concerned with what is popular, because I don't know how to be popular. I thank all of you for reading my book, but I have no idea what you want. I don't know how to write for you. I don't know how to make you happy. I only know how to write for me. So everything I write has to come from inside. And maybe the zombie industry will keep going. Maybe it won't. But I don't sit in my office thinking, what is popular? Where are the zombies going? Aha! No, I just think what is interesting for me. For example, my new comic book, The Extinction Parade, is a zombie play, but seen through the eyes of vampires. It's been out for a few months, the first 3 issues. It's doing well, but I had no idea it would do well. I wrote it because I wanted to do a study of aristocracy. Because I firmly believe, and this is a very important message I wanted to write about, what makes us weak. Remember what I said before about early humans, monkeys, and how we became what we are? What makes us weak makes us strong. Because we start with weakness and we compensate. We get better, we learn, we fight, we struggle, and we get stronger. But if you start strong and everything is given to you, you become soft and weak, arrogant, and you become the aristocracy. And you are not prepared for what is coming for you. And to me that is vampires. They are at the top. They are strong, fast, immortality. They are demigods. Demigods don't work because they don't have to. But what would happen to these demigods, these parasites, if their one food was being eaten from under them by zombies? Could they adapt? They have no history of adapting. They have no history of organizing. They've never had to struggle. Could they learn to struggle? That's why I wanted to write it. So maybe people will enjoy it, maybe people will not. But I do know this, and this is my rule for everything I write. It always has one fan, which is me.
About Richard Matheson and religion.
My opinion about Richard Matheson? Richard Matheson, in my country, we have a term, the man. No, Richard Matheson wrote. The truth is, even George Romero, who we all say, George Romero, praise be to Allah, George Romero. Even George Romero admits that he took his ideas from Richard Matheson with I Am Legend. I Am Legend is one of the greatest horror science fiction books ever written. So Richard Matheson, what perfect example. There's I Am Legend the book, I Am Legend the movie,
And lots of movies.
and Omega Man the movie, and Last Man on Earth the movie.
Which is good.
Which is good, but I'm sure there's going to be I Am Legend the Saturday morning cartoon.
Could you please give us some clues about your next project?
Yes, well, Extinction Parade is out now. There's going to be 12 issues. Issue 3 just came out. I think it's going to be published by Panini in a year. I think it's all going to be put together once it's all done. So that's what I'm doing every day. But in April, I have a new project coming out, which I don't know if anybody's going to want this. It is a true story. No zombies, no vampires. It is a true story of the 1418 War, World War I. Do you still call it? What do you call it? What do you call World War I?
Yeah, World War I. Première guerre.
Okay, because generations ago they called it the 1418 War. And it is a true story of a group of Americans who, they were soldiers, and they were not allowed to fight for their government. Their government sabotaged them, did not want them to fight because they were black. Their skin was black, they were noir. And our government humiliated them and tried to make them fail, and then would not let them fight the Germans. Said, no, you dig ditches, you. So the French army said, we'll take anybody. We got nobody left. We've been fighting for 4 years. And plus the French army had had very good luck with their African troops from Morocco, Senegalese. So in their reverse racism thought, oh, maybe all black people can fight. But the good news was they said, come be with us. Come fight with us. And they did. And they became one of the most successful soldiers in the entire US Army. The first American, black or white, to win the Croix de Guerre was one of them. The reason that, I don't know if you guys like jazz, but I know a lot of your countrymen do, because of them. Because in their unit was a man named James Reese Europe. And he was one of the founders, one of the starters of jazz. And he joined the army. And he had his army band. And he brought that band here and introduced French people to jazz. And to them it was musical cocaine. They just thought, what is this? He does not get credit today for jazz because when he came back to America, he was murdered right after they got home. But that story is a very important story to me, that these group of Americans came back as heroes. It's still about, oh yeah, it's a very deep story about survival. Survival in combat and survival emotionally, psychologically, from the humiliation. There was a movie in America called Glory about black soldiers in our Civil War. But it was about black and white people living together. This is not a story about that. This is a story about black people proving to other black people what they could do, which is why the American government would not let them fight. You called them the Men of Bronze. The Germans were terrified of them and called them the Harlem Hellfighters because they were from Harlem, New York. So I tried to write it as a movie. I tried. Nobody wanted it. Black people? No. Can Brad Pitt make pancakes? No! And when I got into comics, I said, okay. One of my favorite comics is This Goddamn War by Buddy. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try and write this as a comic book. So I did. The artist's name is Kanan White. He's a genius. He's the star. When you do comics, the artist is the star. I'm just the guy who wrote the script. So it's called The Harlem Hellfighters. It's coming out in English in April. We don't have a French publisher yet.
Can be an annoying question, but what do you think of The Walking Dead?
Oh, no, it's not an annoying question. You know, an annoying question is, what do I think of the Dreyfus affair? I'm Jewish, it's all. Anyway, The Walking Dead, I thought the comic books or the TV show, because those are two different answers. Okay, I think comic books are great. I think they're wonderful. I think what's great about the comic books is they follow in the tradition of Romero, which is a zombie adventure. And that is what a lot of zombie stories are, is the study of small groups under pressure. And I think that's Romero has done a great job, and Walking Dead, the comics have done a great job. And the first season of the TV show did a great job. And then, let me back up. There was a man, Robert Kirkman. You know him? He looks like a blonde Kevin Smith. He wrote comic books. Great, wonderful. Then came a man named Frank Darabont, who created and directed Shawshank Redemption, The Mist, The Green Mile. And he took this comic book and he said, I can make a TV show. And he did. And he took all his people together, a true auteur, and put them all together, like Scorsese or Jean-Luc Godard. And AMC, the network, said, they did not trust it. They did not trust it. Because no, they were snobs. They were, oh, Mad Men. What's Mad Men in French, the show? What do they call it?
Mad Men.
Mad Men? All right, so Le Men du Mal. They were very, oh no, zombie. In fact, do you know what they said when they advertised it? Trust us. That's how nervous they were. Well, then Walking Dead, it comes on TV. Bam! The first TV show AMC has ever had that makes them money. Mad Men doesn't make money. Wow! Walking Dead. Now you would think, logically, that Frank Darabont would be rewarded. That AMC would say, oh, Frank Darabont, let's give him a statue in Washington, D.C., next to Martin Luther King. There'd be Martin Luther King, and then there'd be Frank. That's what you would think. But you tell me what AMC did to Frank Darabont.
Fine.
Fired him. Guillotine.
Have you ever met George
Oh, George and I are friends. Yes, George and I are friends. We look. He is very tall, and I'm very not. And when you put us together, we look like Bilbo and Gandalf. No, George is a very nice man, and no one with his level of success should be that nice. Because most people, I make a point of not meeting my heroes in case they're not nice, because I don't want to get to know the real them. But no, we've done a bunch of stuff. In fact, I think on the DVD of World War Z, there's a talk of me and George, which George and I taped together, and then George owned it. And I think he sold it to Brad Pitt. So, you're good for George. Yeah, he's a great guy.